All right. So maybe you've been wondering how to hear the voice of God more clearly. I'm sure if you're a believer that this is definitely something that you've thought about. And if you're not a believer in Jesus, maybe sometimes you've had impressions or felt things like something was speaking to you on the inside. Now, me as a believer, of course, I would believe a lot of times that that could be God speaking to you, possibly depending on what it is, because I believe He can speak to everyone. Okay, what I want to get at today is something that I believe is going to help activate you in hearing God's voice more clearly. And, you know, in the Bible, it says in the book of John, okay, chapter 10, verse 27, it says that my sheep hear me. Okay, and then in verse 28, it goes in to say um, that we listen to God and that we follow Him. Okay, and it's really important to think about hearing God and how that a lot of times is going to result in action in our life. Think about that. Do you want to see change in your life? Hearing God has a lot to do with it. Okay, so when it comes to hearing God more clearly, a little exercise that you can do is get with someone else. This can be a close friend, um, someone at your church, your spouse, whoever that you feel like you can trust and you believe that they are trying to hear God more clearly also. And just ask them a question about something and then say that you're going to agree that you guys are both going to try to hear from God. Here's a great example. Today at church, I try to give to the church because, it helps support a lot of different things that go into running a church and missions and things like that. Okay, so I asked my wife to pray for a number as to how much we should give. Okay, and I said that I would listen too, and we'd see if we both got the same thing. All right, well, she prays and I pray, and I hear 30 dollars. And then I think about it for a minute and I get a vision and I see 30. Okay, I look over to her and I said, "What did you hear?" She said, $30. I said, "Okay, that confirms it. That's what we're going to give." That is just such a little example. But get this, in order for God to trust you with more, it's really important that you're faithful in the little things. So I'm just believing for you today that God is going to activate you in hearing His voice more clearly and that you can practice things like the example that I gave and that you're going to notice this change your life because when you hear from God, that allows you to step into obedience and to do what He says, and it's awesome.